Have you ever noticed that the more you try to be perfect, the more fragile you become inside? The more carefully you polish yourself, the more easily you feel ashamed, nervous, and afraid of making even the smallest mistake? Welcome back to the channel, my friend. Today we are going to talk about something that sounds positive on the surface, but quietly exhausts countless people from the inside out. Perfection. In modern culture, perfection sounds like a compliment. A perfect body, perfect skin, perfect grades, perfect relationship, perfect resume. Somewhere along the way, many of us swallowed a very heavy belief. If I can just become perfect, my life will finally be safe. No one will criticize me. No one will leave me. No one will laugh at me. I will finally be enough. But there is a catch. The more you believe this, the more you start living like someone walking on a tightrope over a cliff. Every step must be exact. Every gesture must be controlled. Every word must be polished. There is no room to trip, no room to be human. You become your own prison guard. Today, we are going to walk together into this prison, look at its walls, and then slowly, gently, open a door. We are going to look at questions like these. Why does trying to be perfect often make you more anxious, not more confident? Why does doing your best sometimes secretly turn into never allowed to be wrong, and slowly kill your joy? What happens, spiritually and emotionally, when you begin to embrace imperfection instead of fighting it like an enemy? And how do ideas from Buddhist wisdom, meditation, and traditional inner teachings about balance, non-attachment, and compassion help you walk out of the trap of perfectionism and into a more awake, more relaxed, and more loving life? We are not going to do this with dry theory. We are going to walk through stories. Maybe, as you listen, you will see yourself. Let us begin with someone we will call Lena. Lena was the kind of child other parents pointed at with admiration. She was the good girl. When she was in school, her test scores were high, her handwriting neat, her clothes tidy. Teachers liked to use her homework as an example. Relatives praised her at family gatherings. Her parents smiled proudly and said things like, "Why cannot you be more like Lena?" to her cousins. On the outside, this looked like a golden childhood. On the inside, something else was growing. Each time someone said, "You are so good," a small seed of fear was planted in her heart. A fear that whispered, "I must never stop being this good. If I slip, if I fail, they will stop loving me." She began to perform goodness the way some people perform on stage. If she came home with a grade lower than usual, her chest tightened. She would replay the mistake again and again in her mind, scolding herself silently long before anyone else said a word. If a teacher praised another student, she felt a sting of panic. What if they replace me? A fragile voice inside her asked. She never allowed herself to say, "I do not like this," or "I am tired," or "I disagree." She was afraid that one expression of dislike or weakness would break the good child image that had become her identity. As she grew older, this perfectionism followed her like a shadow. In university, she chose a major not because she truly loved it, but because it sounded impressive. When her friends laughed loudly in the cafeteria, she smiled politely but rarely shared anything messy about her inner life. When she made even a small slip in a presentation, she would lie awake at night replaying it, her body tense, her mind scolding, "How could you be so stupid?" In her 20s, she moved to a big city and got a job at a shiny company, the kind you brag about on social media. Her perfectionism suddenly had unlimited room to grow. Deadlines, expectations, competition. It was a perfect breeding ground for never mind ascending self minus criticism. She stayed late to double and triple check every slide in her presentation. She edited emails 10 times before sending them, afraid that one wrong word would make colleagues look down on her. She rehearsed conversations in her head over and over, terrified of saying something that might sound unprofessional. On social media, she posted only carefully edited photos. In every picture, she looked polished, successful, fine. In reality, she was exhausted. She woke up with a knot in her stomach every morning. She fell asleep with a tight jaw and racing thoughts every night. She had no idea how to rest without feeling guilty. If she sat on the couch for 10 minutes scrolling mindlessly, a voice inside jumped in and said, "Look at you wasting time. There is still so much you should be working on. You are falling behind." Her friends started to describe her like this: "She is amazing, but hard to get close to. She is always put together, but I never know what she is really feeling. She is reliable, but I feel like I am walking on eggshells around her." The more perfect she tried to be, the less safe other people felt to be imperfect around her. And the less safe other people felt, the more lonely she became. On the surface, she had what many people wished for: a respectable job, neat appearance, stable income, a feed full of beautiful posts. Inside, she was a tight ball of fear. Fear of not being enough, fear of being rejected, fear of losing the label perfect. One night, after yet another week of late nights and constant stress, she sat by her window, city lights flickering outside, and wondered quietly, "Is this it? Is this the reward for being good my whole life? Why does my life look successful but feel so empty and exhausting?" She did not know it yet, but this question was the beginning of her awakening. Awakening does not always begin with bliss. Often, it begins with a small, honest, painful question like hers. Why am I living like this? Who am I trying to impress? Is this really what I want? To understand what was happening to Lena, we have to walk a little deeper into the psychology of perfectionism and the spiritual confusion beneath it. At the core of perfectionism lies a central misunderstanding. I am my performance. If I perform well, I am worthy of love, safety, and respect. If I perform poorly, I deserve rejection, shame, and abandonment. When you swallow this belief, your whole life becomes a stage, and your inner judge becomes your main audience. Every mistake becomes a threat to your very existence. Every failure feels like a verdict. You are not enough. You are broken. You do not deserve happiness. In Buddhist language, this is deeply connected to clinging to a rigid sense of me. The mind invents an image of the perfect me and then tortures the living, breathing, changing human being to fit into that frozen statue. You stop treating yourself as a person and start treating yourself like a product. You forget impermanence. You forget that feelings, moods, abilities, situations all change naturally. You insist that your performance must always be at its peak. You forget non-self. You forget that you are made of countless causes and conditions: childhood experiences, culture, biology, relationships, luck, opportunity, and yes, your own choices. But not only your choices. You insist that everything is personal. Every criticism means I am bad. Every failure means I am useless. You forget the middle way. You swing between extremes, either perfect or terrible, either the best or nothing, either loved or abandoned. There is no space in your mind for good enough, still learning, human, This forgetting does not stay as an idea. It shows up in your body as chronic tension, insomnia, headaches, digestive issues. It shows up in your relationships as distance, control, or hidden resentment. Spiritually, it blocks you from deeper insight because so much of your energy is spent on maintaining an image rather than seeing clearly what is actually here. Let us return to Lena. After that night by the window, she did not instantly transform. Awakening rarely happens in one dramatic moment. It often unfolds like this question: discomfort, resistance, small experiment, insight, slip back, another experiment, gradual shift. A few days after that night, a colleague invited her to a small weekend gathering where a meditation teacher would be giving a talk on stress in the mind. Normally, Lena would say she was too busy, but something in her was tired enough to try. She went. The teacher did not look particularly special. No golden aura, no mysterious glow. He looked like someone you would not notice on the subway. But when he spoke, his words moved like clear water over stones. He did not say, "You must stop caring about success." He did not say, "Perfectionism is stupid." Instead, he asked the group a very simple question: who would you be if you were not constantly trying to prove that you are enough? The room fell quiet. Then he said, "Most of us live like this. When I finally become good enough, then I will relax. When I finally become perfect, then I will allow myself to be loved. When I finally have no flaws, then I will accept myself." But life does not work like that. You cannot hate yourself into someone you love. You cannot punish yourself into someone who feels free. Then he did something very practical. He invited them to remember their day from morning to evening and quietly notice how many moments were driven by fear of not being perfect. Lena closed her eyes and replayed her morning, the way she chose her outfit, not based on comfort or weather, but on what would look professional enough to impress people she barely knew. The way she checked her email before even brushing her teeth, worried that she had made a mistake overnight. The way she looked in the mirror and zoomed in on every tiny flaw. The way she deleted a casual post on her social media because she thought it did not show her best side. The way she said yes to a colleague's request even though she was already overloaded because she was afraid of looking lazy. She realized that most of her day was not about living. It was about defending herself against an invisible judgment. The teacher continued, "In the path of awakening, we talk about mindful listens and compassion, about seeing clearly and letting go. Many people understand these as practices toward others. They want to be compassionate to the world, but they are merciless to themselves. They want to let go of others' mistakes, but they refuse to let go of their own. This is not balance. If you cannot sit with your own imperfection, how will you sit with anyone else's? If your heart cannot include your own mess, your own fear, your own confusion, how much room does it really have for others?" Lena felt like someone had quietly described her entire inner life. After the talk, she did something very rare for her. She stayed behind and waited to speak to the teacher. When it was her turn, she said, "I have always tried to be the perfect student, perfect employee, perfect daughter. People praise me, but I feel like I am dying inside. If I stop trying to be perfect, will my life fall apart?" The teacher listened carefully and then smiled, not with pity, but with the warm recognition of someone who had been there. He said, "Perfection was once your shield. When you were small, you learned that being good protected you from anger, criticism, or neglect. It is understandable that you held on to that shield, but every shield has a price. It keeps danger out, but it also keeps life out. You are old enough now to learn a different way. The goal is not to become sloppy or irresponsible. The goal is to replace fear-driven perfectionism with love-driven excellence. Excellence says, I will do my best because I care. Perfectionism says, I must do everything flawlessly because I am terrified of what will happen if I do not. One comes from wisdom and joy. The other comes from fear and shame. Lena asked, but how do I begin? How do I put down a shield I have carried for decades? He answered, not all at once. You begin by allowing yourself to be imperfect in small, safe ways and watching the world not end. You begin by practicing a very radical sentence. I allow myself to be a work in progress. And you pair that with awareness. You notice how your body feels when you try to be perfect. You notice how your body feels when you allow yourself to be human. The body does not lie. Then he gave her a simple practice. For the next week, he said, choose one area of your life where you will intentionally aim for good enough instead of perfect, and see what happens. Lena chose email. Usually, she spent a huge amount of time polishing each email. For 1 week, she decided she would proofread once, fix any obvious mistakes, and then send. No triple checking, no editing the tone until it lost all personality. The first day, her heart raced. After she clicked send, she felt a wave of anxiety. Her mind started its usual chorus. What if you sounded unprofessional? What if they think you are rude? What if this ruins your reputation? She wanted to open the email again and again to check it, but she forced herself to stay away. Nothing terrible happened. No one wrote back complaining about her tone. No one fired her for a missing comma. The second day, it was slightly easier. By the end of the week, she realized that the world barely noticed the difference in her emails. But she noticed a difference in her nervous system. Her shoulders were a little less tight. Her day felt a little less squeezed. It was a small experiment, but it planted a powerful seed. Maybe I do not need to control everything to be safe. This is what begins to happen when you practice embracing imperfection. You start to see that what you feared the most was not reality, but your own imagination. You start to see that the punishment you were most afraid of was often coming from yourself. Now you might be thinking, okay, I relate to Lena. I have my own perfectionism. But is it really that deep? Does it really have spiritual consequences? Let us zoom out. Imagine life as a vast school, not a competition. In this school, every moment is a lesson in awareness, compassion, and letting go. Mistakes are not proof that you are worthless. They are proof that you are alive and learning. Perfectionism is like insisting that you must get a perfect score on every test from the first day you enter the school. If you cannot, you do not just feel disappointed. You feel like you should drop out of the school entirely. Spiritually, this attitude blocks growth. In Buddhist wisdom, there is a lot of emphasis on seeing clearly what is, rather than clinging to how you think it should be. Perfectionism is the opposite. It says, I refuse to accept anything less than my fantasy about myself. When reality does not match the fantasy, instead of relaxing into curiosity, minus interesting. What can I learn here? Minus you tighten into shame minus terrible. I should not exist like this. That shame becomes a wall. It stops you from honestly looking at your habits. It stops you from admitting, yes, I messed up, in a clean way. Instead, you bounce between denial and self-attack. Awakening requires the courage to see both your light and your shadow without flinching. Perfectionism says, you may only see your light. If any shadow appears, panic. Spiritual practice says, your light and your shadow are part of the same sky. Look at both with gentle eyes. This shift minus from I must be perfect to be safe to I can be honest and still be loved minus does not just improve your mood. It changes your karma. When you are perfectionist, I see, you tend to judge others harshly too. If you cannot tolerate your own mistakes, how can you tolerate anyone else's? Without meaning to, you send out a very cold message. I value flawlessness more than I value authenticity. People around you feel this and either put on their own masks to please you or stay away. When you begin to embrace your imperfection, something else happens. You become softer. You can admit your limits. You can say, I do not know, or I was wrong, or I am sorry, without feeling that your entire worth has collapsed. You become more forgiving toward others because you understand from the inside how hard it is to be human, and life responds to that softness. You may find that opportunities come to you not because you look perfect, but because people feel safe with you. Your destiny gently shifts from constantly performing to genuinely connecting. Let us explore another story to see this in action. This time, we will look at a man named Jason. Jason was known among his friends as Mr. Standard. At work, he had high standards. At home, he had high standards. In his hobbies, he had high standards. He took pride in being meticulous. Nothing wrong with that. But his standards came with a heavy side effect. He could not relax. When he cooked, he compared every dish to a restaurant chef. When he exercised, he compared his progress to athletes on social media. When he dated, he compared himself to perfect romantic images from movies. When his partner did something slightly differently from how he liked it, he got angry. He told himself, I am not angry, I just have high standards. But his partner felt not standards, but constant criticism. One evening, after a long day, they argued about something small, the way the dish's worst act in the rack. Jason thought his partner's way was inefficient. He began to explain, then lecture, then criticize. His partner finally exploded. It is never enough with you. Nothing I do is ever right. Everything must be your way, perfect to your taste. I cannot breathe in this house. I feel like I am constantly taking an exam. They stormed out, leaving Jason standing in a quiet kitchen, surrounded by perfectly arranged dishes and a very imperfect heart. That night, he could not sleep. He replayed the scene. He tried to justify himself. Then a small thought slipped in. What if they are right? What if my high standards are just an excuse for controlling everything because I cannot stand imperfection? The next day, a friend recommended a simple meditation group. Jason went, more out of desperation than interest. The teacher that day spoke about control. He said, the more we try to control everything, the more life slips through our fingers. We think control equals safety, but often, control equals loneliness. Real safety comes from learning how to be with what we cannot control, with an open heart. Then, he said something that struck Jason. Perfectionism often hides a deep fear. Fear that if we are not perfect, we will not be loved. So we try to compensate by making everything around us perfect instead. We criticize, correct, and demand. But what we really want is to be held, flaws and all. Jason felt as if the man had stepped into his living room and watched his arguments. He realized that much of his high standards came from a childhood where love was conditional. When he brought home top grades, his parents hugged him. When he made a mistake, they withdrew affection and lectured him. He had learned that love must be earned through performance. Now, as an adult, He was unconsciously repeating this pattern, rewarding himself and others only when things were just right. Perfectionism is often inherited pain, dressed as pride. When you begin to see this, something tender can happen. Instead of only attacking your perfectionism, you can also hold it with compassion. You can say to that part of you, "I see you. You have been working very hard to protect me from rejection. But we do not have to live like this forever. We can learn a new way." In spiritual teachings, this is similar to befriending your own mind instead of treating it as an enemy. You observe your perfectionist I see patterns with awareness, not with hatred. That awareness gradually weakens their grip. Jason decided to try a small experiment. The next time his partner did something imperfect, like leaving a cup on the table or folding clothes in a way he disliked, he practiced saying nothing for 3 breaths. Instead of immediately correcting, he put his hand on his chest and silently repeated, "It is okay. This is not a danger. I can relax." Sometimes he still snapped. Sometimes he succeeded. Each time he succeeded, he saw something surprising. Life did not fall apart. The cup on the table did not explode. The slightly messy clothes did not cause the house to collapse. His partner, however, felt slightly safer. They began to argue less. Over months, this became a new pattern. Jason did not become careless. He still cared about quality and order, but he no longer made perfection the price of love. His home became a little less neat and a lot more joyful. His face changed too. Friends noticed that he looked softer. His eyes were less intense. He laughed more easily. His destiny, again, had shifted minus, not because he won the lottery or got a promotion, but because he loosened the knot of perfectionism in his heart. This is exactly how inner practice reshapes outer life. Now, you might be asking, so should I just stop trying to improve myself? Should I use embracing imperfection as an excuse to be lazy and irresponsible? Good question. Embracing imperfection is not about giving up on growth. It is about changing the fuel of your growth. Perfectionism says, "I am growing because I hate myself the way I am." Inner practice says, "I am growing because I care about my life and the lives I touch." Perfectionism says, "If I make a mistake, I must punish myself." Inner practice says, "If I make a mistake, I must learn and make amends. Then, continue walking." Perfectionism is motivated by fear and shame. True discipline is motivated by wisdom and love. Think of it like this. If you plant a tree and scream at it every day, "Grow faster, you useless thing," the soil will be filled with stress. If you water it, protect it from storms, give it sunlight, and patiently prune branches when needed, it will grow stronger. You are that tree. Your perfectionism is often the screaming voice. Your awakened heart can become the careful gardener. From a Buddhist perspective, the practice of accepting imperfection is closely related to 3 key qualities: compassion, humility, and patience. Compassion means you recognize suffering, including your own, and respond with kindness instead of cruelty. Humility means you remember that you are a student of life, not its master. You are always learning, never finished. Patience means you give yourself time to change, time to heal, time to grow. You do not demand instant transformation. When these 3 qualities touch your perfectionism, it begins to soften. You start to say things like, "I did my best with the conditions I had today. Tomorrow, I will try again. I made a mistake. I will apologize, repair what I can, and forgive myself for being human. I do not have to be impressive to be worthy. I just have to be sincere." This does not make you weaker. It makes you more resilient. Perfectionism is like thin glass, clear, shiny, but easily shattered. Embracing imperfection is like flexible bamboo. It bends in the storm but does not break. Now, let us turn directly to you. Take a moment to think of one area in your life where perfectionism is loudest. Maybe it is your appearance. Maybe it is your work. Maybe it is your spiritual practice. Yes, even spiritual practice can become a perfectionism project. You may judge yourself for missing a day of meditation. You may compare your practice to others and feel either superior or inferior. You may treat awakening as a competition. In that case, inner work has turned into just another stage to perform on. Gently ask yourself, in this area, what am I really afraid will happen if I am imperfect? Whose voice am I hearing when I scold myself? Is that voice wise and compassionate, or is it old, tired, and harsh? Then ask, what would it be like to relate to this area with more curiosity and less fear? What small experiment could I try this week to practice good enough instead of perfect? Maybe your experiment is this: leave a tiny mistake in something that does not truly matter and watch the world not end. Post a photo that is not fully edited and survive the discomfort. Admit to a friend that you are not okay and notice that they still stay. Allow yourself to rest for 20 minutes without doing anything productive, and feel the panic rise and fall. These are not small acts. They are tiny rebellions against the inner tyrant. Each tiny rebellion gives your true self a bit more room to breathe. From the viewpoint of karma, choosing authenticity over perfection is a very wise investment. When you chase perfection, you often choose appearance over reality. You might lie to look better, hide problems to maintain your image, or avoid situations where you might fail. These actions plant seeds of fear, dishonesty, and avoidance. When you embrace imperfection, you are more likely to tell the truth about where you are, ask for help when needed, and step into new challenges even without guarantees. These actions plant seeds of courage, honesty, and growth. Over time, these seeds ripen into a very different kind of destiny. You might still face hardship. Everyone does, but you will face it as a whole, flexible human being, not as a fragile statue trying not to crack. Before we close, let us look at imperfection through one more lens: compassion for others. Think of someone you love deeply. Do you love them because they are flawless, or do you love them with their quirks, their annoying habits, their strengths, and their weaknesses together? Most likely, your love includes their human mess. You may not like every part of them, but your heart has room. Now imagine that the universe, or life, or whatever you feel is greater than you, looks at you with the same kind of wide, patient love, not as a judge waiting for you to become perfect, but as a wise elder watching a younger soul stumble, learn, try again, fall, grow. From that perspective, your imperfections are not sins. They are your training ground. Your wounds become places where you can later understand others' pain. Your mistakes become stories that can help others avoid the same traps. Your failures become doors through which humility enters. When you see this, perfectionism starts to look less like a noble goal and more like a refusal to participate fully in the human journey. To insist on being flawless is to refuse the very texture of life. Awakening is not about becoming a smooth, shiny surface with no cracks. It is about becoming so honest, so present, and so loving that even your cracks let light through. So, if you are listening to this and thinking of all the ways you have pressured yourself, all the times you have called yourself names for not being perfect, All the nights you have replayed your mistakes and felt sick with shame, I want to say this to you as clearly as I can. You are allowed to be imperfect. You are allowed to be unfinished. You are allowed to be a work in progress and still worthy of respect, love, and tenderness. Your value is not a test score. Your value is not a dress size. Your value is not a flawless performance. Your value is the simple, profound fact that you are a conscious being capable of learning, loving, and waking up. Perfectionism makes you forget that. Embracing imperfection helps you remember. As you leave this video and step back into your life, you might try this very simple practice. Whenever you catch yourself saying, "I must be perfect," gently change the sentence to, "I choose to be present." Presence over perfection. Presence allows you to respond to life as it is, with the resources you have in that moment. Perfection keeps you trapped in endless comparison with an imaginary, impossible self. And if you feel brave, you can share in the comments a small way you plan to practice embracing imperfection this week. Maybe it is being honest with a friend about how you really feel. Maybe it is allowing yourself to start a project before you feel ready. Maybe it is forgiving yourself for something you have dragged around for years. Your story might be the exact mirror someone else needs to see their own perfectionism more clearly. If this long sharing touched something in you, if it made you exhale a little more deeply or look at your own tight standards with softer eyes, I invite you to support this channel by subscribing, liking, and leaving a comment so we can keep exploring together the messy, beautiful path of awakening. And if your conditions allow and your heart feels moved, you can consider supporting as a member to sustain the time and energy it takes to create these long, heartfelt scripts. But even if you do none of that, even if you simply sit for a moment after this video and place a hand on your own heart and whisper, "I am allowed to be imperfect," that alone is a powerful act of inner revolution. May you slowly replace fear-based perfectionism with love-based growth. May you discover that your cracks do not disqualify you from awakening. They are often the very places where the light gets in. At the end of the day, we all need something that brings us back to ourselves. Something that reminds us to slow down, breathe, and stay centered. Simple bracelet can do exactly that. Every bead you touch brings your mind back to calm, back to clarity, back to the present moment. If one of the bracelets you just so resonates with you, you can find the purchase link in the video description and explore more beautiful styles in our channel store. Let the one meant for you find its way to your wrist.